Welcome to this video where I will show you how to install and use yTemplates, a free, open source, declarative and easy to use Salesforce application to manage Lightning templates. You can install yTemplates from the App Exchange or from the open source repository. And you can find the documentation on our website. Here I have a brand new org that I've created where I've installed yTemplates, and we will just go through the setup and user guide to show you how it works. Part of the initial setup is to set up the connection between yTemplates and this actual Salesforce org so that we can manipulate the Lightning templates. And for that we need access to the metadata API. So let's go to App Manager, click on New Connected App, create a connected app. We're gonna name it yTemplates. You can enter your contact email, description, app used by yTemplates. Enable Auth settings, yes. And then the callback URL, we can enter the default one. And then we will need full access to the API. The application only needs access to the metadata API, but unfortunately that requires full access, even if it doesn't really use all of that. There's no way of being more granular than that. We also need refresh token, so perform requests at any time. And then we have require secret for web server flow, yes, and for refresh token flow, yes. Good, so let's save this. And it can take up to 10 minutes to take effect. So while we wait for those 10 minutes to pass, you can get the consumer key and secret by clicking on Manage Consumer Details. It will ask you to enter a verification code that was sent to your email, and in there you can copy the consumer key and secret, which we will need later. Let's go back to setup, Auth providers, click new, select Salesforce, name, you can use yTemplates. Then you need to use the consumer key that you got before and the consumer secret. On default scopes, you can copy paste what's on the server guys, full, refresh, token and offline access. Then include consumer secret in sub responses, yes. Okay, click save. And then from here we need to copy the callback URL. So now let's go back to our application that we created before. Make sure you click on the one that says connected, app type connected, and click view, edit, and where it says callback URL, you paste the URL that you got before, click save, and continue. It may take a bit of time to update that, but let's try now anyways. So now let's create a connection. So go to name, credentials. You can search for name credentials. First, let's go to external credentials, click new. You can call it yTemplates. And we use the Auth 2.0. We use browser flow. Scope is the same that we used before, so full, refresh, token, offline access. Then auth provider is going to be yTemplates, which we created before. And we can click save. I think everything looks fine. Now if you scroll down to principals, you will see that there is a new row in the table, and then you can click the drop down actions, click authenticate. And if you get an error like this, it means that you need to wait for the changes on the callback URL to propagate. So let's wait a few minutes. Let's try again after having waited a few minutes. So let's scroll down, click on actions, authenticate, and it will ask you to enter your username and password for this org. So let's get that right. Can click login, and then yTemplates, which is the connected app that you just created in your org. No one has access to it except yourself, so you can allow access for the application to access your org through the metadata API. Click allow, confirm external access. Great, so it has been configured, authenticated. Now let's create the name credentials. On the setup page, you can search for named credentials. Click new, and then label and name has to be yTemplates for it to work. The URL will be your domain URL, so you can use your callback URL, for example, and remove everything after salesforce.com. Enable for callouts, yes. External credentials, yTemplates that we created before. Allow formulas both for header and body, yes. And then namespaces, type yTemplates. So the yTemplates will be able to use this. Click save. Okay, now let's set up permissions. So to do that, let's go to permission sets. We will have one called yTemplates, but we need to clone this to add access to the new external credentials. So let's call it yTemplates custom. Click save. Okay, and let's open it. Go to external credential principal access. Click there. And then select yTemplates admin. Click save. And now we can assign this to our user. Let's see if we can do it from here. Add assignment. And this usually doesn't work for me, so I'm gonna go through the user, open my user record, and permission set assignments, edit assignments, add yTemplates custom, because that one has access to the external credential, otherwise it cannot connect. So let's click save, and now it's time to open yTemplates. So open App Launcher, clicking on the 9 dots, you can search for yTemplates. And you will see two different options. The first one is to create a new template, and the second one to modify an existing template. You can only modify templates that have been created by yTemplates. So let's start by creating a new one. It's going to be for account records. So account is call it new account record page or record template, and then we can create an API name for it, new account underscore record template. Just copy the name as description. Template type is going to be a record page, and I'm going to support both form factors. Now let's click create. Okay, so it's created the template, and now it's time to define it. So just an overview. On the left hand side you have the regions. As you add regions, they will appear in the middle as a preview. And on the right hand side you have information. You have information about the template or the regions when you select them. So you can, for example, scroll down. We've seen all of that except the template layout, where you have horizontal alignment, vertical alignment, pull to boundary, or allow multiple rows. So let's start by creating our template. Let's add one region. Let's call it our header. So this is going to be our header. The default width is going to be large. Flexibility, let's do grow. It's going to take the whole space. Or it could be auto, and then you can define the size. For example, if it's a column, if you have 12 columns, then you can say I want the 12 columns, so I want to span the 12 columns. If it's a small device, maybe you want to do a different size, but you don't have to. Then you can have some padding. For example, let's do around medium. Good. Now let's add another region. Because we want multiple rows, you click away, you can see again the template information. You scroll down to the bottom, you can click multiple rows. So if we add another region, because we've already used the 12 columns, it wouldn't go to the right, but it would go below. So there we go. Let's do 3 columns. So this is going to be column 1, column 1, and we're gonna use, let's do maybe 3 and some padding around as well. So padding medium, so it aligns with the other one. Let's add another column, column 2. And we're going to use, let's say 4, maybe a bit more. Let's do 6, so 3, 6, and 3. With some padding. And finally, well, we can add a footer later. Let's do column 3. It's going to be large, auto 3, with some padding around. And finally, let's add a footer. It's going to be large, it's going to be the 12 columns with as well some padding around. So here you can see the preview of how the template will look like, and then on every region you can drag and drop your components for the record. So you have the header, 3 columns, and a footer. So I'm gonna just save this. So now that we have the template ready, it's time to use it. Let's go to the Sales app. go to an account record, and here we can see the existing layout. We see that it has a header region, it has a main content on the left hand side and a sidebar on the right. If you click the cog icon, click edit page, you can see that more clearly. So here on the right hand side sidebar on the template, you see header and right sidebar. If you click change, you'll be able to find all the standard templates and your custom template, new account record template. You can click it, click next. It will ask you if you want to move things or header to header, main region to column 1, right sidebar to column 3, or main region maybe column 2, it was a bit wider. Let's click done. And then here you can see we have 1 column, 2 columns, 3 columns, and a footer at the bottom. So I'm just going to click save, activate. This is going to be the org default. Save. And now hopefully if we look at the account again, we can see it's using the new template that we just created with yTemplates. So if you ever need to change the way in which your record pages, app pages, they look like, you want to change the different regions to use something different, then use yTemplates to very easily define those templates, those regions, and then use them across your application.